In this video, I'm going to share with you a few tips that'll help you lead your worship team toward implementing a click and tracks in worship. When I first started using a click and tracks, I was leading at an established church that had a worship ministry that never used a click and tracks before, and they even had never used in-ear monitoring before. So I know exactly what it's like to be in your situation if you are completely new to this and your team is new to this as well. So when I wanted to implement a click and tracks, the first thing I did was just explain to my team the why behind it. It's really important as leaders to explain the why behind anything we do, just to help the folks in our team to connect the dots. So when you're implementing click and tracks, just think about what fears they have. Are they like, oh, are we being replaced by files played on a computer? Because musicians can get a little bit insecure and concerned about that type of thing. And some of them also may think, oh, like I'm not good enough to play with a click and backing tracks in worship. So be conscious of that, because that's probably what they're thinking. That's a really common objection that we hear. Or they may think, oh, how is there going to be freedom in our worship gathering when we're playing to a click and track? So just be aware, those are like the common objections and the ones you want to be able to answer, because there are some great answers to those. And I think those are just really myths that people believe about using a click and tracks, and those can be easily overcome. So that's the first thing, is just consider those objections and then explain to your band the why. The reason we're implementing a click and tracks is that we do want our worship to be done in such a way that it's excellent. It's as good as it can be. We want to bring our best before God. And when you look at the best musicians out there, I'm talking even the best worship bands like Hillsong, Elevation, Red Rocks Worship, Bethel, they're all using a click and tracks. And not that we're supposed to copycat the big churches, but we can really just aspire to implement the same tools and strategies they do, because I don't know about you, but I want my team to grow and get better. I want to become better as a worship leader, so I'm going to look at people who are further down the road than I am. So let your team know, like, hey, this is like the professional standard of what worship bands are doing. And what's cool is that a lot of this technology has become so accessible for worship ministries. Like, man, even in the past decade, things have just come such a long way because of resources like Loop Community providing the software, the hardware, and training to get all this stuff implemented in any worship ministry on any budget. And I also want to encourage you as the worship leader to become the expert at using these tools in your ministry. You can learn this. I've seen people who know nothing about Ableton or click and tracks or any of the apps available for them out there. I've seen them go from knowing nothing to like becoming experts and becoming completely competent with using these tools. So check out Loop Community's learning resources. You can even check out some of the resources I have on my channel, and you can learn how to implement these things, because you need to be the expert so that you can troubleshoot any issues you face along the way of getting these things up and running. Another thing I hear often from worship leaders and bands is that they feel like it's cheating using a click and tracks in worship. It is not cheating. I feel like that's saying me taking a jet plane from here to London is cheating. No, that's just smart, and it's like not wasting time. It's really helping me get a great result with the least effort possible. So we have the tools available to us, and we have the technology. There's nothing more holy or sacred about not using technology. Like, actually, I could come up with a theological reason of God has given us these raw materials to make cooler things out of because we're made in His image. We're supposed to be co-creators with Him in this world, and that's what technology is. Anyways, that's like my 20-second version of that theology. And I think it's actually a really responsible thing for us to do, to take these tools available to us, learn how to use them, like really learn how to use them, become experts, and then apply them to our ministry. And it's not cheating at all. It's just being intelligent with the tools that we have available to us. And lastly, the tip I have for getting your band up and running with a click and tracks is commit to it. I've seen so many worship bands and worship leaders try using a click and tracks. They try it one weekend and there was a hiccup, it didn't go smoothly, and then they just give up and they're like, oh no, like we just can't do it, it's not for us. Don't do that. Like, nothing good in life do you ever just get on the first try. So make sure that when you go to implement it, do your best to do all the research, get all the tools in place, like in-ear monitoring, all that stuff. Make sure you set your team up for success, but know that you are gonna face some hiccups at first, but you just need to press through those and at least commit to a couple months of running and clicking tracks this way. Let your team know ahead of time, even let them know, hey, we're probably gonna face some road bumps with this technology, but I do feel like this is gonna bring our team just to another level in the level of excellence we can provide during worship in terms of our music. But then also these types of tools, they will empower you to better pastor your congregation in worship. I'm just saying this from experience. Like at our church, we're a brand new church plant. We've had some really powerful weekends and moments in worship. And a lot of that is because this technology is taking care of all that simple stuff that can be taken care of by technology. So I can really focus on leading my congregation and pastoring them during the worship service. So those are the tips that I have, the thoughts that I have on leading your band toward using and implementing some of these tools in your worship ministry. If you like this video, just hit thumbs up, share it with your friends, and make sure you subscribe and follow Loop Community for lots of videos to help you get up and running with these tools in worship.